Hey guys, so happy Tuesday. So I planned to make this video a few weeks ago actually, before the snow melted in New York. But I'm a procrastinator, so I was either working on homework or procrastinating on homework and consequently procrastinating on like being productive with this video. But I'm finally working on it. And I guess I just decided to broaden it and talk about how we blind folk travel in all weather. Honestly, rain isn't so bad. I I feel like the best weather for me to travel in is overcast weather because the sun isn't in my eyes. So, I'm not squinting or reluctantly putting on sunglasses that I can't see very well through sunglasses. I plan on getting like transition sunglasses, but usually it makes the world too dark or it just turns into a weird color, so then I struggle with seeing contrast. But so overcast days are the best, which means that I'm pretty okay with rain. I honestly don't mind walking through rain. I just hate that you get drenched. I actually prefer walking through snowflakes because I don't know, rain is just rude. Like, it drenches you entirely, whereas snow just kind of melts on impact. It's pretty until it starts to, build up and it becomes snow. And then that snow turns into ice. So for a few weeks after the last snowstorm we had, there was a lot of ice piled up on the corners. And even sometimes, like, there might be a wide path on the sidewalk and then it would narrow out for only one person. So if I was walking with someone and, I was being guided, it became even more precarious. And even if oftentimes I would prefer if we could still walk together because they might see the ice that my cane would just slide right over and I might slip over. But my snow boots are pretty good. So I haven't fallen this winter, or I didn't fall last winter. So that was good. A few slips that I caught myself on. But the main, so in addition to talking about this, the main reason I wanted to make this video is talking about how strangers react to us in poor weather. So during the rain, only thing is puddles, and people are like, oh, there's a puddle there, go around it. Some people might grab you and like, here, let's go around the water. And okay, whatever. I'm accustomed to being grabbed. Sometimes I won't say anything, sometimes I will. But I also have rain boots, so I'm usually fine just tromping through puddles. I actually get a strange satisfaction from it because it's not, I'm only getting my boots wet. It's not wetting and consequently making disgusting my socks or the inside of my sneakers. But during the snow, that was a bit more, a lot of situations can become pretty precarious. So sometimes, for example, if I was going to the bus stop, they'd only have like a small place shoveled out or a small path shoveled out for pedestrians to travel and get onto the bus with. So I definitely appreciated whenever someone offered me assistance if I wasn't standing in front of the path or if I started to veer toward the packed ice. But what's not cool is when, though even if I'm walking between and not on snow, there still may be ice on the ground, and people just grab me assuming that they need to help me around every aspect of the snow, like I could slip. That actually almost happened. I was getting off of the bus and the driver had warned me that there was snow, so he's like, be careful, it's not too high, but you have to sort of climb over it. So okay, I knew what to expect. And then as soon as I stepped down, someone grabbed my hand, and obviously that threw me off. So they were trying to do a good deed, but I consequently ended up almost slipping because of their hand there. They actually caught me and I didn't fall or anything like that. But just, I don't know, guys, use your words in conjunction with your hands. It's also really frustrating when, there are, I think they're called APS machines, the beeping traffic lights that you can press the button and it lets you know when to cross the street. So it sucks when there's a path shoveled at the corner, but the snow is completely piled around the APS machine. And I get that is it sanitation that deals with the snow and stuff like that? I get that they're, working with, sorry, my phone fell. I get that they're working with what they have, but it's also, quite frustrating especially at like weird crossings, and then you're already thinking about how you're gonna get around it with snow. The least you could do for me is like let me be secure in knowing that I can cross safely at this weird intersection. Going back to that, so I have another story. I was crossing, and at Park Avenue, it's one of those streets that have a little island in the middle, and there was a lot of snow piled around it. So I'm walking, and apparently the path wasn't a clear like a straight walk. So I step up onto the island, and I'm crossing, and then I slip on some, I almost slip on some snow, but I use my cane to find the clear spot, and people around me are like shouting like, oh my gosh, she's gonna fall, and I'm just like, guys, you're not helping. I feel like when I complain about how people go about helping me, it sounds as though I don't want the assistance, and my thing is just offer it rather than forcing it. Because if you're just like, hey, do you need some help getting around the snow, which a lot of people did, or getting around the ice, or there's some ice here, can I assist you getting across, getting over, getting around? I'm like, yeah, sure, great. That makes my life completely easier. But everybody's shouting how I'm gonna fall, or like tons of people are giving me varying directions, like, oh, turn a little bit to the right, no, to the left, she has to turn to the left. Like, guys, I might as well just work this out on my own. So these past few days have been pretty rainy. I think it's been pretty rainy in a lot of areas. One of the classes I'm taking this semester is weather and climate, and honestly I cannot explain to you what's happening with the weather right now, why it's like rainy, what's going on with fronts and winds and cloud, and I have no idea. But I'm going to talk about school in the next video. But I think it's pretty rainy in a lot of areas, but it's not, what I appreciate is that it's not pouring. When it's drizzling or just like misty, I can deal with that. And as I said, I like traveling in overcast weather anyhow. And what I also like about it not, being either a raging snowstorm or, well, I've never traveled in a raging snowstorm. Like, I've traveled while the snow was slushy on the ground. Oh, that's another thing. So when there's already snow on the ground, I'm generally okay, but sometimes it's a little hard because I might not necessarily, or, I have to be a lot more careful at corners, like finding the curb cut out or just finding the drop off, because, everything is blanketed in white, and it's also, it's got the layer of snow over it, so sometimes it's hard to tell with the cane, sometimes it's a lot easier, and sometimes I can see where the cars are parked, so I know that I've gotten to the corner. But a lot of people, they underestimate the ability of the blind person to travel, and again, like, I'm shouted out at corners, or I'm asked why I'm traveling in this weather, and honestly, if I didn't have to go to school, I'd either be playing in this, or I'd be in my room, like, drinking hot chocolate and watching, what am I working on right now? I'm working on Glee. I never watched it in high school, actually. I don't know why. And a few weeks ago I realized I love music, so why haven't I watched this show? It's really quite cheesy. But I like all of the music, so. But anyway, so I just rambled for quite some time about blind people and weather, and just basically, I guess what I want my non-visually impaired viewers to take away from this is kind of what I say anytime I make a video, and I talk about how people react to me and how people treat me when I'm outside. It's always best to ask. Like, no one's going to get upset with you for wanting to assist. Well, some people might, actually. I had a doctor's appointment a few weeks ago, and this guy, I was asking him where the elevator was, and he's like, oh, it's this way. He's like, can I take your arm? Can I take your arm? And I was like, I'll take yours, actually. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, the last time I helped a blind person, or last time I tried to help a blind person, the person just started shouting at me. And I wondered, and I asked, I'm like, well, did you, you spoke to me beforehand. Did you speak to him? And he told me that he did. So some people they're just like, no, don't ask me if I need help, grr. I think they might just assume that, like, oh, do you need help? And that'll come with someone grabbing you as they ask if you need help, because that also happens rather often. Displeasingly often. Distressingly often? Distressingly often. What was I talking about? Oh, right, so the guy, So, in general, though, people aren't going to, like, shout at you just for offering them assistance, but it's then, what you do either after you ask them for assistance. Oftentimes, the proper etiquette is to wait for them to tell you whether or not they need help, rather than just grabbing them by the hand or the arm. Also, another thing that happens a lot, actually, whether I'm outside or inside, is when people offer me assistance, like, they'll grab my hand and I'm like, I'll hold your arm. And they're like, wouldn't you be more comfortable if I held you? No, I wouldn't, actually, because then I have less control. Like, let's say I'm not comfortable with where we're going. I can just let go of your arm and go. If you're holding me, I have less control. But people also take my cane and kind of like cross it over my body so that they're holding it. And I'm like, yes, you're guiding me. That's great, but you're a stranger. I kind of need that. And it can make it like really awkward, because then they're trying to describe like, oh, there's a step. Okay, it's a few feet. It's almost here. Or, there's a puddle. Let's move around it. And if I had my cane, I could better follow these directions. So the takeaway from this video, if you've gotten here and you've just been listening to me rant all this time and listening to the dulcet sounds of Drake rapping in the background, just use common sense. Like, we're people, and particularly in inclement weather, because most of us are probably already uncomfortable traveling, or if not uncomfortable, then unhappy with traveling over like frosty patches and random bits of black ice that could be detrimental to us. Well, not right now, since it's now spring and hopefully there'll be no more snow. But, so if you're just like grabbing to help us, maybe if you're panicking about a situation, the blind person might be panicking too if they can't find like the curb cut out, if they can't find where the snow breaks, or if there is any break in the snow, So just use common sense in any weather, rain or shine or snow or, I think I covered the basics of the weather. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great night, and maybe I'll make my video about school now, or maybe I'll make it this weekend. I guess we'll see what happens. Oh, before I leave though, I have 120 subscribers. That is freaking awesome. If I made more my videos more consistently, I could probably, and I tweeted about my videos more. I don't publicize myself as often as I probably should. I could probably get more, and that sounds kind of like conceited, but it's astounding to make a video and then check a few hours later and see that I have like 100 views, whereas sometimes it take me like a few weeks just to get like, I don't know, 10 to 20 views. So this is freaking awesome. I really have to step my game up and like start making more videos and stuff. And all of these 120 subscribers, feel free to interact with me on here and Twitter. Sometimes I don't make videos for a while because I think like I have an idea, but I'm like, is this actually is this as interesting as I think it is? Give me things, ask me questions, interact with me, guys. All right. So yeah, have a good Tuesday night, and till next time, when we meet again.